Hi, and welcome. My name is Ursula, and I'm with the Ascension Playground. And today, Anne-Marie, Angel Star Rising, and Julia with Starseeds.Teachable.com. The three of us are here with open hearts and love and gratitude to share Julia's most amazing story. Both Anne-Marie and I found Julia, and we found each other actually, through her Starseeds Astrology program and her free online calculator. I get the honor of introducing a little bit about Julia. She's a mom. She used to work in corporate. She's an incredible teacher. She's a healer, and then there's more. So Julia's based in Ireland. I'm in California, and Anne-Marie is in Texas. So welcome, everybody.
Hello, everyone. Happy equinox.
Hello. Well, so many people are wondering about, what's happening. We're sending people to Mars and the moon, and we're looking at images of Neptune and Pluto and Jupiter. So the galactic conversation is up. And within that framework, some of us are beginning to wonder, have we actually had past lives, not just on Earth, but also within other star nations? We don't have to say ET if you don't want to, but off-planet lives. And this is where Julia's most amazing calculator came to my attention, and Anne-Marie's as well. So we're going to begin the conversation with asking Julia a little bit about her past. Julia, what brought you onto the spiritual path before perhaps you got into the galactic? What was it in life that led you to where you are today?
I believe I was always pondering the mysteries of life. I have my signature sign is Sagittarius, and I recall quite strongly since early childhood and teenage years, more and more as I was growing older, to really research everything esoteric, metaphysical, astrology, deep psychology. I've always been a seeker, but always in the closet. And I didn't really have anyone to talk to about these topics. It was just my nerdy side in my own private time that I would research this. And I always felt a calling, and I always lived in a prayer that I would like to be of service to humanity in whatever way God wants me to be of service. And when I was approaching the age of 33 years old, few years before that, while I was working in the very busy corporate environment, I realized very strongly that what I really want to do is to assist people one-on-one with resolving their trauma, their issues, and doing it in some powerful, transformational way. So I knew back then that I need to study or become certified in some modalities that will enable me to do that. So I just decided, I really clearly remember that time when I was pondering this, and when I had this long-term vision of where I want to be and what I need to do to get there. And I just started studying and studying, including stuff that I didn't know, like building a website or marketing and all that. Like the vision was there, and I just like, okay, this is everything I need to figure out in order to get there. No one will do it for me. One of the first modalities that I decided to study was QHHT by Dolores Cannon, Quantum Healing Hypnosis Technique, because I had my own transformational experience with a session, and that's when I found my modality. That was 2014, I think. And eventually I started practicing. I am level 2 certified QHHT practitioner. And exactly a month after my 33rd birthday, I very spontaneously decided to quit my corporate job. I already had built my website. I was already practicing part-time. And I felt like, yeah, I am just going to take a major leap of faith. And I quit my job overnight and started focusing full time on this path. Never looked back since. Now, a couple of years into doing QHHT sessions, I started noticing a pattern. I realized, talking to my colleagues in QHHT community, that we all have different attraction point in terms of what type of client is coming to us. And I seem to have had quite often people connecting with extraterrestrial life experiences, people regressing to planets that didn't look like Earth, and very different experiences to what we know here. So I started paying attention and I started researching the topic more and more. And around that time, I was also guided to start looking at my clients' astrological charts after their session. So I would spend hours just digging deeper into their charts. And what I was looking for was proof that our intuition is guiding us correctly, or based on, I was looking for something more tangible than just what is happening in the sessions. So proof that the intuition is guiding us correctly. And also I wasn't sure what I was looking for, but I wanted to know, is there some tangible proof about the extraterrestrial connections that were happening in the sessions? And, when you're looking for answers, they appear. At some point, I started noticing similarities in some of my clients' charts. And that's when I realized through research that we have fixed stars in certain star systems, constellations, that can be tracked based on zodiac degrees. So then I look back through the many charts when there were quite strong extraterrestrial connections. And I noticed that clients who had, say, Pleiadian alignments or Sirian alignments or Arcturian alignments, they would actually book their session on a day of either the Pleiades conjunct with Sun and Earth, or Sirius or Arcturus or whatever it was. So, that was the major mind-blowing moment. I was just in awe. I was actually emotional seeing.
I'm getting emotional.
The master orchestration, divine orchestration of our everyday experiences. It seems like such a random thing for me to pick a day for my client. Sometimes they booked months in advance. They had no idea about their Pleiadian or Sirian connections. Many of them, it was like first time experience for them, expand their consciousness to possibly there be life outside of this solar system. So it was definitely, very organically occurring synchronicity. So
Wow.
Amazing. Yeah, that was pretty mind-blowing. And then from then on, I just couldn't stop. It became a passion, and I started researching, studying. And after several hundreds, many hundreds of charts, I have such a big pile of charts and notes. After several hundreds, I started noticing patterns of like deeper and deeper information. So what I've noticed with astrological chart, that, you first understand a layer of it and it becomes clear, and then something shifts and you go deeper into the chart, and then you understand that layer, that dimension of it, and then the door shifts and you go even deeper. And it almost looks like a quantum map technology for our soul history. And it's not just our current life, but also our ancestral and parent stories, past life stories, and I believe also stories from beyond the solar system. And it's just absolutely fascinating to keep looking. I still feel like I'm just scratching the surface, like there's always more. So I'm very, very excited to see people being so thirsty for this knowledge now. And since I published the courses, I've noticed that there are so many more people who are being led to this kind of information. So many other astrologers have received that inner nudge to start looking at fixed stars. So it's definitely something we are ready collectively. And it's just so wonderful to get together with others and share notes and see that actually we are all on something here. So it's just such an honor.
Wow. So what I think I heard was this really, your path was informed by an organic human nudging of spirit, of synchronicities. But that moment where you decided to leave corporate, you know, which is almost like the 3D mundane world, the paycheck, the reliability of schedule, that leap of faith to get you where you are today, it's so inspiring to me. What do you think, Anne Marie?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I know, I mean, I get very emotional about astrology too, when it starts like opening itself up and showing who someone is. I mean, traditional astrology helps us understand why we are the way we are, and to some degree where we came from. But your Starseeds Astrology program just took that to the galactic level. I mean, it was, you know, I didn't even understand that aspect, and seeing how it can impact us all, just healing us too, is just an amazing thing. Along with your Starseeds Astrology course, you also have offerings on your higher self connection and define your life purpose. And now the new certification course called Galactic Astrology Soul Reading. And as you were saying, in today's world, it's more and more people are wanting to learn this information. And with the question of which starseed are you, and like Ursula said, you know, are you Palladian or not? As you hear that more and more, it seems to be in vogue. But what do you feel is the most important for us to be made of in today's world right now? What would you say is the most applicable in our lives now?
What I'm noticing on something you've mentioned there, I really want to comment on that, is that when someone sees in their astrology chart, like literally written, that they have some connection to other star systems, and especially if it's a person that always had that nagging feeling throughout their life that they came from stars. There are many people who feel like they don't belong here, many people who love being on Earth, and I really want to highlight the importance of us honoring and respecting that we are here. We chose to be here at this time. It's so important to actually ground these cosmic energies to Earth, because that's why we came. We, you know, there's nowhere else that is more special than being on Earth right now. So, but what I love about the Starseeds Astrology is that once someone sees actual proof of their true connection to other star systems, it's incredibly healing. It's transformational, because suddenly they give themselves permission to release the limiting identity that they were conditioned by, the programming of their family and ancestors and society. And for the first time, they really allow themselves to own and anchor their magnificence. We all are coming from higher up. We all come from higher densities, higher dimensions. So once someone sees it black and white, you know, really written in their charts, it's they give themselves permission to really become who they came here to be, and that's transformational. And then everything shifts. Suddenly there are so many more synchronicities and so much magic starts happening in their life. That's what excites me most about this, and that's why I'm so eager to share the message with as many people as possible, because the effect of that, the positive effect of that, is exactly what we need in the ascension process, in expansion of our consciousness. Does that answer the question?
That's beautiful. Absolutely.
You know, I would just add and dovetail with that, you know, like you, I've played with a large, wide dashboard of all things metaphysical too, but in the back room or undercover or not out in the open. And yet now in 2022, this year to roar from our authentic voice, so that maybe our soul families can hear us. That's kind of impelled me to come out of the closet and just say, you know, all we are truly are collections of stories, right? we were born, we were given certain stories. We were given an algorithm for how to move from birth to high school to potentially the workforce or college. These are stories. So if you're at a point where you want to just open it up your mind and heart a little bit more to a different story of who you are, like truly, it goes back to Paul Gauguin, the painter's magnificent masterpiece in art, who says, where did we come from? And then he asks, what are we? And where are we going? And he did this painting back in 1892, thinking he was going to die. So this was going to be his masterful 3-questioned painting. And I carry that in my core being, realizing that we don't really, none of us understands what we truly are. And yet if a story opens up, test it for accuracy. You know, like play the game. Let's just see if it feels right or not. So being a mom, I was sharing this with Anne Marie. Hey, you know, I might not be able to see myself, but let me go use the free online calculator that Julia and Hector created. And let me just see if I could see my kids in these stories of vibration. So if you can get over this idea of extraterrestrial and think in terms of energy, like in painting, the energy of color. Okay, well, maybe you're a little bit more, you bend more towards the violet, maybe Andromedan. Well, what is the lesson there? And your teachings, Julia, have just opened up this whole new narrative that is more quantum, that is more holographic. I mean, I've studied human design, astrology, and I love the gene keys that's coming out of Richard Rudd's good work. And it's all about this idea of narrative but test it for your own accuracy. Don't believe the 3 of us. You go find out for yourself. Then we'll segue to the last question. The future, Julia and Anne Marie, what do any of us see as far as Starseeds Astrology, the certification program? What do you see, Julia, for the future?
I wholeheartedly believe that it'll become more of a common knowledge, and it will slowly but surely leak into the mass media and mainstream consciousness, and that slowly but surely people will become more and more comfortable with it. And it's so good that you pointed out the importance of discernment and tuning within your own truth, within your own frequency, and see what you resonate with, and not because there's going to be so much information. It can be truly overwhelming when people start looking in this direction. There's so much already out there in terms of extraterrestrial topics. So it's very important to keep checking with our own hearts and for the frequency of truth, right? Our what suits us. But there'll be so many different layers to this, so many different realms, and I think it's important to accept that there will be different vibes, different layers of these spiritual communities, or Starseeds communities, and that we can allow everyone to have their perspectives and views and experiences that resonate with them. And all we need to do individually is find our own tribe, people that we vibe with and rise with. So what I'm constantly seeing as a shift of a collective of starseeds and light workers is definitely coming more together, like we are here today, where there'll be more collaboration of just delightful conversations where in the moment something is birthed and something comes through as a message that is relevant at any given time. So I see collaborations and groups as something that will become very powerful and very needed, very valuable as well. So I see a lot of excitement when I look that way. What about you?
I think that sounds wonderful. Yeah, I'm looking forward to, it seems like contact is actually, like mainstream contact could possibly be very close. And I think that for me, that was part of the thrill of learning this information was it takes away a bit of the fear of that idea. You know, it's like these are people that are beings that we're connected to on a DNA level and on a soul level that we don't need to fear. Now, granted, there are negative energies as well, but it's not a blanket, you know, be afraid situation. And I'm looking forward to that very much. How about you, Ursula?
Factor of clearing fear needs to happen first before we have that first contact. So I think it's really good that so many people are hungry for this information, and that many conversations are you know, happening worldwide, because the more we know, the less fear we have about the topic. So then the contact, yeah, definitely would be the next step. What do you think, Ursula?
For me, looking ahead, for me, it's an identity issue. It goes to the core of, you know, who am I truly? What has been dormant within me that may now be activated as we move into this photonic light belt? You know, so it's really looking at us not even just as, okay, I'm an American or I'm a citizen of the world. It's a galactic embrace of, I've lived these lives, I carry these gifts from my trines, let's just say in your methodology. I'm more magnificent than I even realize. And I'm not saying that from my ego, I'm sharing that from a focus on who and what am I, and how do I hold what's happening in 3D world right now? Like, how do I hold that without moving into fear or hatred or conspiracy? So once we know who we are as an identity, and as you said, lighten up to vibrate higher. Well, why? Why was all that practice important? And I think it goes to the center point of each of us. Who are you truly? And Julia, you offer us narratives. You offer us a potential for, hey, based on your birth chart, this is the wardrobe, the cosmic wardrobe that you came in. And your mind might not understand it, your heart might not feel it fully, but your soul, your hara will remember if you allow that to open. And if you choose to say, yes, I really want to know who and what am I? I know that's a lot. That was like a big gush, but I'm serious. Like, it's like, oh my
Beautiful.
God, it's time for us.
I would love to comment on that, because it's such an important message to highlight with my work, that I see the Starseeds Astrology as a stage for each one of us that is very important in helping us release the limitations of the old conditioning. But because it's only a stage, we should not stay stuck with it and stuck with these labels and identities, because it's just another limitation at some point. We have to go beyond that, and then when we drop all the labels, it comes to color and frequency and feeling. And as you said, you know, some of us may be more vibrating in that indigo or purple or green or blue, yellow, orange. And that's why I love to start the soul reading sessions pointing to that, the essence. What is the essence that each of us carry? Because then everything just makes so much more sense. So we cover that in the courses as well. Yeah.
Well, if I could add, Anne-Marie, I hope you don't mind my saying, but when she and I were talking earlier about how did we each find you, Molly McCord plays a huge role. And bless her, she's got Molly McCord Astrology on YouTube, and many of us tune in. But then you had this avalanche of people coming towards you, and you weren't able to do perhaps as many one-on-one readings, and so therefore moving to Teachable, starseedsteachable.com. And now, can you share with us a little bit about this new certification program? Because you want to kind of create more teachers. You want to replicate some of your
so last year in August, I was interviewed by Balaz and I, and she, you know, her channel is growing so rapidly, and literally overnight, the it was just overflowing interest from hundreds upon hundreds of people. It took, I'm still serving Lena's clients from that one interview, from that one night.
Wow.
Within 24 hours, I was booked out for a year ahead. It's that level of demand for this kind of information that people are craving to know. They want to understand who they are on a soul level. So when that happened, I already had my Starseeds Astrology course where I was teaching people to read charts for themselves and maybe for their family, for their friends. But, there's such a high demand for this soul level reading astrology service that I had to then create this certification. I felt I had to create a certification program where I share everything I know so that other people can, because there are so many capable, gifted astrologers and intuitives that can totally do what I do, but why reinventing the wheel where, I just felt I had to share what I know. So now we have the certification program with large 9-10 modules that go deeper into what I do. So hopefully we will have many more wonderful people able to help those that don't necessarily have time to go deep into astrology, because it does take time, right? It has to be passion, it has to be a calling in order to comprehend the size of it, the magnitude of it. So I really look forward to seeing more and more people joyfully offering this as a service to others. Mm-hmm.
And Marie, you were offering some free mini readings. I think that's also how I found you.
Yes, when I found I was paired with someone that was doing like intuitive things, and I was then pulling in the chart and pulling up your free calculator and saying, well, these are, so people would say, well, on my channel, they would reach out and say, I want to know more. And so I would do the mini readings. The more I've gotten into the class and the more I now in the certification course, I have more tools now. I feel like I'm better equipped. So I'm looking forward to helping others.
I believe it's quite rewarding work because you constantly expand with it as well, right? We always something mind-blowing or fascinating occurs. It's just such a rewarding.
Very evolutionary. I gotta say though, taking your class, I would just do a shout out. If someone doesn't understand or has never studied astrology, don't worry about it. Julia, your classes are quite comprehensive. And I love that you're based in Ireland because you send us to links that I've never heard of. And so like Astrology King, had to get my fixed natal. Oh, Bernadette Brady's books, got to get those. Elena Denon, got to get her book too. And so, and I had come in with Lissa Royal Holt's The Prism of Lyra. And so it was like adding to what was already on the dashboard. But for a beginner, don't worry, because you really do walk people through in your classes from beginning to intermediate to advanced to even practitioner if you choose that. But it's all with joy and love and expansion. I mean, Anne-Marie, what was your take on the classes when you started picking up Julia's work?
Oh my God, I love them. I mean, the more information I got, the more excited I got. And the more I wanted to just, I felt like it had touched a part of my heart and found healing for me. And I just had to share that with people. It was like, I just wanted other people to experience that too. So yes, I have definitely been sending a number of people to your site for sure.
Very grateful. I'm hoping that with the certified practitioners, I will create a page on my website where we can refer people to choose from these wonderful, gifted intuitives and astrologers that will be ready to serve the ascending collective.
Right. And I got to say, a shout out to your your foundation with Dolores Cannon. I mean, there is a love energy. And as she was doing some of her regressions too, it was a shock to her that some of this past life on non-Earth lifetimes came through. So you're honoring the whole process, and then you're looking up your own chart and testing it for accuracy. And you don't have to pick it up if it's too overwhelming, but at least you're aware it's somewhere on a dashboard. But the flood coming towards you, Julia, from our hearts, we just want to say thank you. Keep going, more please. And as you develop soul practitioners, you know, Anne Marie and I are signed up, and we'd love to chit chat with anyone else who's taking the class.
That would be great.
During the class, even like, hey, comparing notes. I'm calling Anne Marie, like, hey, how did you interpret this? And then you mentioned earlier, Julia, that once certification happens, you're thinking about also bringing our group together with another love heart beam.
How exciting. I'm so glad you touched on that foundation of the QHHD. I have to say, I feel that was huge for me to sit for years with people for many hours who are journeying through other worlds. That was massive expansion of my consciousness and getting a deeper understanding of how soul journeys through many different incarnations, and how energy that or experiences that are unresolved in one life, they are carried over into the next. So just having that really deep understanding over the many years, and then doing soul readings, you know, learning how to do the Akashic records reading, that was really huge. And then just adding astrology to that, it was just epic. So I'm honored that I am now in position to be able to share all these fascinating discoveries, and that it makes sense to others, and that other people can relate to it and take it and fly with it, and, you know, really expand it in their own ways. I would love to see the practitioners to take the course information as their baby that will grow with them, and you will create your own unique styles and ways of interpreting, because there's so many different frequencies and vibrations, and everyone resonates with different things. So I'm so glad that there'll be much greater spectrum to choose from for people. So everyone will find their own gem, their own diamond practitioner.
Well, thank you. Thank you. Anne Marie, any final thoughts?
I just appreciate you coming and spending time with us. Thank you so much. And I'm looking forward to seeing you in the class and another connection in the future, I hope.
It's been a great honor. Thank you, ladies.
We're so grateful. We hope you might want to come back in the future.
Absolutely. Look forward to our connections then. Happy equinox, everyone. Much love.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.